Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the iPhone 14 Plus and compare it against the iPhone 8 Plus and see which specific phone is the better one for you. Now, if you want to pick up some phones I would recommend this year, links are down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, what's crazy between these two devices is that this was actually the last Plus phone, technically, that Apple made, and this is the most recent one. There were like 5 years in between these things, so it's actually pretty insane at what's going on. Now, in terms of the outside, you can tell there's some pretty big differences. The iPhone 8 Plus came out back in 2017, and this was a very interesting phone that Apple made. Not because it was a big upgrade or anything, it kind of was, but mostly because the iPhone 10 came out at the same time, which kind of made this design look instantly outdated. You had a 5.5-inch, Retina IPS panel on the front. You had quite a bit of bezel on the top and the bottom, but overall, it was not that bad looking of a phone. And I do think it, overall looked pretty good. I mean, it definitely looks a lot older now than it did at that time, but you have Touch ID here, which I love. And overall, I mean, it's definitely a dated design. Does not look like a new phone anymore, but it is what it is. I'll definitely say it doesn't look that ugly anymore. It looks like an older iPhone. With the 14 Plus, definitely much better design, almost dropped it. You're getting a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel. So this is a much bigger screen. It looks much better. It gets way brighter than the iPhone 8 Plus. This is overall the better phone panel for sure. You are getting a notch, which isn't really that bad compared to how much bezel is around the 8 Plus. But I will say, between 5 years between these two, I mean, I'm glad Apple went this direction, but the iPhone 10 that came out of the same year here looks almost identical to the same thing as this thing. So I will say the iPhone 14 Plus looks better between these two for sure. Now, in terms of thinness and thickness, one of the craziest things about the 8 Plus was how thin this phone was, especially compared to phones nowadays. Now, I actually like a thicker phone, to be honest. I don't really like super slim phones, but the iPhone 8 Plus is surprisingly thin. Like, it's pretty insane how thin the 8 Plus is. You are getting a flat set on the iPhone 14 Plus, but they feel almost identically the same thing, to be honest. Now, with the 14 Plus, you are not getting a SIM card tray. With the 8 Plus, you are getting a SIM card tray, which is really cool. So definitely keep that in mind. If you're wanting a phone that's going to have a SIM card tray, the 8 Plus has it, the 14 Plus does not have it. Now on the back, we have glass backs on both, a very cracked back on my iPhone 8 Plus, and you can kind of see we have dual camera setups on both as well, but look at how much bigger the camera setups are on the 14 Plus. That is a really good camera we're getting on the 14 Plus. The 8 Plus honestly wasn't even that bad either. Now we're getting glass backs on both, which is great. We're getting wireless charging between both, which is really, really good. We do have a lot more features built in with the iPhone 14 Plus. We're getting dual eSIM technology, which is cool. So you can use two dual, eSIMs on this phone. You have 5G capability on the iPhone 14 Plus. You have emergency SOS satellite mode here. You have the MagSafe capability here. You have crash detection on the iPhone 14 Plus as well. So those are some really big features that, a lot of phones have nowadays, a lot of iPhones have. But between these two, there are some really big upgrades you can get, and just from kind of the internal and outside features that the 14 Plus has. They both have lightning ports at the bottom, no headphone jacks or anything. And in terms of the outside, that kind of covers it up for the most part. Now, another big thing we're going to have to kind of take a look at is how much longer these phones are going to last. Now, the sad thing about the iPhone 8 Plus is it's kind of on its last leg of software. It's not going to be lasting like way longer than a lot of people think. It's actually the lowest supported iPhone right now, or it's the lowest supported group of iPhones on iOS 16. So the 10, the 8 Plus, and the 8, the 2017 phones, these are the lowest supported phones right now, which is actually kind of sad. I feel like these phones could have lasted a much longer period of time. So because of that, going from an 8 Plus to a 14 Plus, even though this thing doesn't have the latest greatest chipset, the 14 Pros have it, this is still a monumental upgrade that you're getting with a much longer lasting phone here. I mean, this phone may last another year, maybe two if we're lucky. The 14 Plus is going to last 5 years probably from now. So I'll definitely tell you the 14 Plus is definitely the better one if you want a longer lasting phone for sure. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these devices. The 8 Plus has the Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM, where the 14 Plus has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigs of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. Let's go and hop out of the apps in the background. You can see for yourself. 8 Plus is here, 14 Plus is here. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Definitely the 14 Plus was faster there. Kind of started here a little bit. Music 3, 2, 1. And you can see again, 14 Plus was the faster one. Let's go and do settings 3, 2, 1. I think the 14 Plus was faster. Podcast 3, 2, 1. And again, 14 Plus is the faster one here. Let's go ahead and do camera 3, 2, 1. Okay, let me go and close out of this one. Let's go and take a photo 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing, but opening it up was definitely faster on the 14 Plus. Let's throw up their app stores 3, 2, 1. And definitely the 14 Plus again is the faster one here. Scrolling through, let's see if there's a difference. which I don't really think there's going to be that big of a difference. They're both 60 hertz panels, by the way, and you can see pretty much the same thing, not really that big of a difference. Let's do male, 3, 2, 1. 14 plus again is a faster one. Clock, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing. Let's do photos, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now we have some of these third-party applications we go and open up as well. So let us get into it. We can try Genshin Impact 3, 2, 1. Now this is a pretty big game, and I've done tons of gaming on the 8 plus. I've even done a little bit on the 14 plus, and it's not really that crazy big of a difference here. I mean, there's a really big difference, but a good thing about some of these older devices and games like this, they have different graphic profiles you can change. So there's always that, which is really, really nice. Hopping out of this one, we have some other apps. So Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And this is a pretty basic game, nothing crazy, but we sometimes will have a downloading content thing here. So we will give the 8 Plus a little bit of a leeway, but even then with those 2 seconds, it still would have been faster on the 14 Plus. So probably like another slight thing to keep in mind. Hopping out of, well, we'll let this one load, and you can see how much bigger of a difference it is here. Getting out of this one, let's go and try something like Twitter, 3, 2, 1. 14 Plus again is a faster one. Let's go ahead and try something like Snake vs. Blacks, 3, 2, 1. And again, 14 plus is the faster one there. Hopping out of this one, let's go ahead and try something like, I mean, we've kind of tested all of them, Instagram 321, and it's definitely quite obvious which one is the faster one. The iPhone 14 Plus is definitely going to be faster in pretty much every single area, which is expected. I think the 8 Plus still is decent, but the problem is with the 8 Plus is that you're using the home button every single time, and the gestures are much smoother and just way better just to kind of maneuver with. So that's probably one thing to keep in mind, but I'll say the 14 Plus, you're getting twice the amount of RAM, and it's a way faster phone as well. So in terms of that, that kind of covers it up there. Now in terms of the camera setup, this is another very interesting thing between both. So on the outside, like I mentioned before, dual camera setups between both, wide and an ultra-wide camera here, but the 8 Plus you're getting a wide and telephoto lens. Both can do 4K at 60 on the back. The iPhone 8 Plus can only do 1080p at the front. The iPhone 14 Plus can do 4K at 60 on the front, which is a pretty big difference if you ask me. Now in the actual camera comparison department, I will say the 8 Plus's camera is overall really, really good. For its age, it's definitely not like the best camera of all time, but you do get things like 10x zoom, which is really, really cool. The iPhone 14 Plus can only do 5x zoom, but you don't get that 0.5x zoom outside, so that's kind of a disadvantage. The coloring of the 8 Plus, also these photos, I mean, these older lenses, so it's something to keep in mind. You are getting portrait mode here, but you aren't getting, cinematic mode or anything like that where the 14 Plus has it. So this is definitely, I wouldn't say a dated camera, but it's definitely an older style of camera than something like the iPhone 14 Plus. With the 14 Plus, you are definitely getting the way better camera for sure. For one, like I mentioned, you're getting an ultra-wide camera, which is really cool. But if you go and hop out, you can see we are getting 0.5x zoom, which is that ultra-wide camera, which I like a lot. I like having that capability. You are only getting 5x zoom compared to the 10x zoom there, so that's kind of funny. But still, I would prefer 0.5x zoom sometimes. You do have portrait mode here, which is cool, but you also have video mode, which the 8 Plus has, which you have action mode, which is really cool. This is like a super stabilized type of video, and we're getting that on the iPhone 14 Plus, which is really cool. We also have cinematic mode, which is like portrait mode for video, and we are getting that also on the 14 Plus, where we are not getting that on the iPhone 8 Plus. So I'll definitely tell you the iPhone 14 Plus is the way better camera, but I'll also tell you the iPhone 14 Plus is a way better phone overall than the iPhone 8 Plus. I mean, it's kind of obvious, some of you may know this, but the 14 Plus is going to be giving you a better, screen, better build quality, kind of, better cameras, better performance, better, longer lasting phone. Pretty much everything on this phone is going to be better. The only advantage of the iPhone 8 Plus, in my opinion, is its price tag and its availability. Like, you can go on eBay and find these things all over the place. You can find these probably for much cheaper than you would ever imagine. So this is definitely not like a crazy great, this isn't like a crazy great phone anymore. But for its price, it's not a bad idea. And if you can buy this thing for like $150, $200 and, go for it. Otherwise, if you have the money, go for the 14 Plus. So in terms of that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.